Hi everyone, welcome to TripAdvisor Film Friday edition. Today I am kicking off a series that will continue to roll out as we inch towards the Academy Awards, which will take place on April the 25th. So each week I'll be talking about some of my favorite films of the year. Today I'm talking about my favorite animated feature film. Next week I'll talk about my favorite international film with some honorable mentions. And then once the Academy Award Best Picture nominees are announced, I plan to discuss and rank each and every one of those nominees. And so that's what's coming up on Fridays between now and then. But I am very excited today to talk about my favorite animated feature film of the year. I know the film that's been getting most of the hype and love and is the presumptive front runner for the best animated feature this year is Pixar's latest offering, Soul. I watched it with my family. Left me a little bit disappointed, to be honest, though. My family and I, we watched it. There were aspects we enjoyed, but we didn't think it was Pixar's sort of best by any stretch. However, there was another animated feature film that we simply adored. I've seen it multiple times. Just rewatched it with my son the other day, and it's from Irish animation studio Cartoon Saloon. The film is called Wolfwalkers. It's currently streaming on Apple Plus. And so I'd like to just take a few minutes to share with you why this is my favorite animated feature film of the year. Wolfwalkers is the latest animated film from Irish animation studio Cartoon Saloon, whose previous films include The Secret of the Kells, Song of the Sea, and The Breadwinner, all of which received Oscar nominations for Best Animated Feature Film. In Wolfwalkers, we are transported back to Kilkenny, Ireland in the year 1650, a time of great upheaval and conflict during England's invasion of Ireland under the leadership of Lord Protector. The film revolves around the character Robin Goodfellow, a young English girl who is displaced from her home as a result of her father's role as a wolf hunter. Under the leadership of Lord Protector, Mr. Goodfellow, voiced by the recognizable voice of Sean Bean, is tasked with the responsibility of hunting down and annihilating the dangerous wolves in the forest of Ireland. Legends of dark magic in the forest of Ireland and a great fear of wolves among the Irish people lead to the ruthless Lord Protector and his colonizing soldiers and hunters to chop down the forests and slaughter all wolves in an attempt to domesticate and civilize the Irish people. Motivated by her curiosity and a desire to break free from the mundane and restrictive confines of the city walls, one day Robin secretly sneaks away from the magical forest, following her father out hunting wolves. During this unsanctioned exploration of the forest, Robin encounters not only wolves, but also a legendary wolf walker named Meb, who, along with her mother, have the ability to change into wolves at night. The encounter leads to an unlikely friendship as together Robin and Mabe try and overcome the authoritarian rule of Lord Protector, who along with his army are hell-bent on pillaging the country, destroying the wolves, and instituting an authoritarian rule through the use of power enforced by fear and violence. Well, that's just a brief sort of plot synopsis. I don't want to give any detailed spoilers today. I think you'll enjoy the movie much more if you go in not knowing any more than the sort of broad strokes I've given you today. But I want to take a few minutes just to share some of the reasons why this film specifically was head and shoulders above Soul and all the other animated feature films that I viewed this past year. First, just the nature of the animation really appealed to me. The majority of the animated feature films we see from production companies like Pixar and DreamWorks, those are the two big ones these days, they're almost exclusively sort of 3D animation with digital enhancements. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy many of those films, but there was something beautiful. It was sort of a breath of fresh air. It added to the sort of whimsical and magical nature of this film. The fact that the animation was not sort of your typical 3D digitally enhanced, but it was this sort of hand-drawn aesthetic artwork. It's not 2D animation, don't confuse it with 2D animation, but there was something unique, as with all previous films from Cartoon Saloon. It just sort of added to the magic in viewing this film. The creativity, the colors, and the intentional choices they made with the animation. It sort of felt like I was being whisked away, actually drawn into the story, that I was right there in the 17th century Ireland with the main characters. The two main settings in the film, there's sort of the city and what's happening within the city walls and city gates, and there's what's happening sort of in the forest area with the wolves and the hunters and Robin as she encounters Mabe. And some of the interesting choices I appreciated as well, the distinction between how the artwork was drawn for scenes within the city versus how the scenes were sort of drawn within the magic of the forest. In an interview, a co-director of Wolfwalkers, Ross Stewart, talked specifically about the intentional animation choices that they made for this film, given the two settings of the town and the forest. He writes, "So I think as soon as the plot started to become clear, we started becoming aware that there were two very contrasting worlds. The oppressive kind of authoritarian construct of the time, and the wild, free, instinctive world of the forest in the Wolfwalkers. And so we really had to just use all our visual language and tools and techniques and try and reinforce those visually." And I think Stewart and his team have done this very well. It's a masterful job of the sort of visual language reinforcing sort of the mood of each of the settings in this film. Whenever we find ourselves within the city, within the walled-in area, the hand-drawn artwork is more boxy, it's rigid, it's flat. However, when we find ourselves outside the confines of the wall in the forest with the Wolfwalkers, Robin and Mabe, we see more curved, free-flowing, and wild designs in the artwork. We also get to see at times sort of a first-person point of view perspective from the Wolfwalkers, from the wolves, and that's beautiful to behold on screen as well. So all in all, the hand-drawn animation here really enhances the story, and it's just beautiful to behold. Not only did I really appreciate the hand-drawn animation in Wolfwalkers, but the music as well really enhanced my viewing experience. The score by French composer Bruno Coulet, who has worked with Cartoon Saloon on some of their previous films, just draws, again, the viewer in. The sort of Irish folk music helps establish the setting and the theme and the plot as well. There's not only one sort of song throughout, but a litany of songs, and it seems like the music is sort of broken down into sort of a quartet of themes. Whenever Robin is the main character on screen, there's a certain style of music that sort of echoes her character, as well with Mabe and Mabe's mother, Mole, and there's the sort of the dreamlike main theme, a mix of percussion and strings with add to the sort of the magical nature of the film. It's my favorite score of the year, and I'm disappointed that it hasn't been getting more recognition and won't be nominated for Best Score of the Year. The music really did enhance the viewing experience for me. And finally, I mean, if it was just about the animation and sort of the plot and the score, it would probably still be my favorite animated film of the year. But there are certain themes of interest embedded in this story that makes it not only my favorite animated film of the year, but my favorite of the last few years. We've got some themes embedded in this film, themes of creation care and animal care. We've got this sort of loving friendship between Robin and Mabe that's explored in their character arcs. I love movies that explore unlikely friendships, and certainly this is one of those stories. It also explores deeply themes of colonization. You know, we see the character of Lord Protector, and although he isn't clearly identified as Oliver Cromwell, those of you who know anything about the history of England and Ireland during the 17th century, very clearly Lord Protector in this film is in fact Oliver Cromwell, the head of state who sort of led the colonization from England through Ireland, just pillaging and ravaging the people in the countryside. And I remember sitting in a church history class in my seminary days and being quite angered and distraught, leaving some of those classes, learning a little bit about this history and other parts of the dark side of colonization in the name of God. And this is sort of an example, one of many examples, and certainly even today, living in Canada, learning more in recent years about how our Indigenous brothers and sisters were mistreated in some of the residential schools in the darkness of our history, sort of done by the church in the name of God and religion. It's just very insidious, and this is a sobering but important reminder of the danger of an authoritarian rule, whether it's politically motivated or religiously motivated. Lord Protector in this particular film, sort of, he personifies the authoritarian rule of power enforced by fear and violence. But at the end of the day, this really is a story about the power of love and friendship, the power of indiscriminate love, which can win the day over fear, power, and control and violence. And so for all of those reasons and many more, Wolfwalkers is my favorite animated feature film of the year. It will undoubtedly be nominated for Best Animated Feature Film of the Year by the Academy, and fingers crossed it can pull the upset and beat Soul on the day of. But regardless of the outcome, in my mind, this is the one that is head and shoulders above the rest this year for me. So at the end of the day, Wolfwalkers, I hope you'll give it a look. It's wonderful for families as well. Watch it, enjoy it, experience it, and talk about some of the themes in the film together as well. At the end of the day, I will enthusiastically give Wolfwalkers an A. Well, thanks for taking time to be with me here today on TripAdvisor. And next Friday, hey, join me again. I'll be looking at some of my favorite international feature films of the year. It was a wonderful year for foreign films. Talking a little more about that. And then the weeks following, once the Best Picture nominees are unveiled, we'll be going through all 7, 8, 9, possibly 10 of those between now and the end of April. So as always, you're welcome to like the video, share it. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, be notified whenever I produce a future Film Friday video, as well as my Tabletop Tuesday videos and my Theology Thursday videos. So thanks again for being with me, and whatever you're deciding to watch tonight and this week, I hope you enjoy your time at the movies. Take care. Hey Alexa, play Running with the Wolves.
Running with the Wolves by Aurora on Amazon Music. Go row the boat to safer grounds, but don't you know we're